It's 50 years old this year and showing no signs of slowing down. On this week's travel show, we say happy birthday to Japan's high-speed Shinkansen.
Coming up on the programme, I'm racing against the clock on one of Tokyo's bullet trains.
I'm sure I'm taking a lot longer than 3 minutes.
Addie hitches a lift back in time to find out what people in York think of the city's new signature scent.
And I was like, oh.
Our global guru Simon Calder has top tips for getting the best rate when you exchange currency. And we've got the story of one traveller who got a bit too close for comfort to one of Australia's crops.
Hello and welcome to the travel show, coming to you this week from Tokyo. Well, this is the city's vast central station, where every day roughly 500,000 commuters begin and end their journey. It's also where back in 1964, a record-breaking high-speed revolution began.
It was the year of the Tokyo Olympics, and Japan was the first country in the world to build dedicated railway lines for high-speed travel. Nicknamed the Bullet Train, the Tokaido Shinkansen wowed the world with its speed and efficiency, cutting the journey time from Tokyo to Osaka by roughly a third. Today's Shinkansen network carries more than 150 million passengers a year, making it one of the world's busiest high-speed rail lines. The entire network is now operated by 4 Japan Railways Group companies, spanning almost 2,500 kilometres of track, with maximum speeds reaching 320 kilometres an hour. And whether you're a railway buff or a wide-eyed child, you can't help but be in awe.
やっぱりこう形がとっても綺麗ですごいスピード感があるのがとってもかっこいいと思ってます。はい。
当時は、小学生3年生です。でまだ福岡まで開通しなくて大阪東京間でもうテレビで見る限りもうスピードが速いのでもうびっくりしてこんな速い列車ができたのかというのが第一にイメージでした。
And what's truly amazing is that over its 50-year history, carrying more than 10 billion commuters and tourists, there hasn't been one passenger fatality due to derailments or collisions, despite frequent earthquakes and typhoons. So what's the secret to maintaining safety? Apparently, it's the people.
本当に大勢のもちろん東海道新幹線はシステムもものすごいしっかりしてはいるんですけども、それを守っていく人たちが夜中、例えば夜間作業3000人いたりとかですね、運転手も正確に運転したり、そういった人たちのおかげでここまで安全運行ができていると言っても過言ではないと思います。
If you stand on the platform, you will see these tireless rail employees working with almost military precision, from immaculately dressed conductors right down to these worker bee cleaning crews. Each day, a total of 336 bullet trains pull in and depart from this station, with average intervals of 3 minutes. Each team of 55 cleaners works on around 120 trains a day. As well as cleaning away rubbish, they've got to turn roughly 100 seats to a forward-facing direction, wipe down tabletops, brush off the seats and replace the white covers on the seat backs, all done in less than 10 minutes, sometimes in as little as 7.
It's amazing how quickly these cleaners work, but it's not just about cleaning. If they take longer than their allotted time, this train could be late. And believe me, that's not an option here in Japan.
The Shinkansen's average delay from schedule, if you could call it that, was just 0.6 minutes last year.
これはもう絶対1分1秒遅らせてはいけないことなので、これは同じ号車で清掃作業している者同士協力して必ず仕上げます。
It's an impressive record, and it's a challenge I'm keen to take up.
So the staff here have agreed to let me be a cleaner for the day. Let's see if I make the grade.
At the Shinkansen Training Center, I'm shown how it's done in this mock cabin. 25 seats in less than 3 minutes.
So this is the start of my training, and Suho-san here is going to teach me all about cleaning a Shinkansen. Let's start by putting on some gloves. Konnichiwa. So, when the train arrives, we must bow. I can't change the order. Must do right to left. Okay, hi. Got to do it with flair, like this. How am I going for time? Hi. Oh, I can't pat it? No. Right, now this isn't any ordinary brush. This brush detects moisture on seats. Okay, so if the light goes off like that, we have to replace the seat. Oh, I've got to start this. Wrong end. Okay, we have to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is such a process, but I think I'm getting into the rhythm of it. I'm sure I'm taking a lot longer than 3 minutes. Oh, 6 minutes, almost 6 minutes. Oh dear, okay.
It's probably a good thing I didn't make the cut. I'm told it can take up to 3 years of training to fully master the cleaning process. And hundreds more cleaners will need to be trained to make sure Japan's rapidly expanding rail network is maintained. There are several new Shinkansen lines planned for the next couple of years, and construction on a super-speed maglev train line begins this year that will be capable of speeds topping 580 kilometers per hour.
Well, of course, in addition to the Shinkansen, there are plenty more iconic train trips to take around the world. So here's the travel show rundown of some of our favourites.
If you prefer journeys slow and scenic, head to Switzerland for a ride on the Glacier Express. Snaking through the Alps at an average speed of 39 kilometers an hour, that's just 25 miles per hour, this train has earned itself a reputation as the slowest express train in the world. The full journey from St. Moritz to Zermatt lasts 7.5 hours. Trains depart up to 4 times a day in the summer. Spanning 2 continents, 8 time zones and more than 9,000 kilometers or 6,000 miles, the Trans-Siberian Railway is the longest railroad in the world. It takes 7 days to cover the distance between Moscow and Vladivostok, where Russia meets the Pacific Ocean. If you want to stop along the way, you'll have to purchase separate tickets for each leg of your journey. To see South Africa in style, take the Blue Train from Cape Town to Pretoria. The route passes river valleys and vast plains, and a personal butler service is available throughout the 27-hour journey. Of course, a trip on this luxury locomotive isn't cheap. If you'd rather save the cash, there are also long-distance passenger trains that operate along much the same route for a fraction of the price. For a journey back in time, try the heritage steam trains of Northern England. The North Yorkshire Moors Railway is an 18-mile track, or 30 kilometres, from the market town of Pickering to the village of Gromont. It's been featured in several films and on television, including Harry Potter movies and the Sherlock Holmes series. Next up, more of your animated travel tales. This one's from Sheena Parsfield in Andorra.
Taking a break from life in high-octane Hong Kong, my husband and I ventured to the Northern Territory of Australia for a couple of weeks. No one can visit the Northern Territory without hearing about all the horrible, nasty beasties which appear to lurk in every dark corner or patch of water. But the most fearsome are the crocs, a creature left over from the dinosaurs. It hides, it swims, it stalks, it jumps, it kills people. Everyone we talked to said it's imperative to stay well away from the water's edge. We decided to try our hand at a remote 4-wheel drive track across the outback, looking for a bit of an adventure. Eventually, the track brought us to a narrow river with quite steep banks. The crossing point was a shallow billabong surrounded by gum trees. Instead of stopping the car to discuss our next move, my husband took us at quite a speed into the water, which was far deeper than we thought. Our little Jeep didn't like it one bit and we stalled. Now we're stuck in the car, miles from anywhere, without any form of communication, in the middle of a billabong that in all likelihood contained man-eating croc, and who knew how many of his mates? Even if we could make a break for it and climb into the nearest gum tree, the croc could jump. This was scary, maybe even life-threatening. After sitting in the car for a while contemplating death by croc or dehydration, we decided to have another go at trying to get out. We turned the key, waited. Turned the key, waited. Finally, thankfully, the Jeep started. We revved the car back and forth, finally getting some grip, and exited the billabong at top speed, totally soaked by the spray, then covered in clouds of red dust. For the route home, we decided to stick to well-charted roads. Returning to our hotel, our appearance understandably got a few funny looks from the other guests. We also discovered that the billabong had claimed one victim from our adventure, our Jeep's number plate.
And now for your weekly travel update. Now, we've all heard of a heavy heart, but the weight of love this week proved a bit too much for one of Paris's famous bridges. A section of railings on the world-famous Pont des Arts collapsed under the weight of the love locks left by tourists to the City of Love. Couples write their initials on the padlocks and throw the key into the river below as a sign of everlasting love. But campaigners are now calling for the practice to be ended. European travellers faced transport chaos this week as a taxi strike brought disruption to several major cities. Cabbies in cities including Madrid, London and Berlin went on strike and blocked roads, causing severe delays.
No surrender, London taxi strike.
They were protesting against what they regard as a lack of regulation of rival mobile service Uber. And finally, if you're in Brazil for the World Cup, you'll be pleased to know that the metro is now running again in Sao Paulo, following a 2-day strike on the eve of the event earlier this week. Strike threats from transport workers in cities around the country have caused concern about whether Brazil's airports and bus systems will be able to handle the influx of tourists.
Still to come here on the Travel Show.
We find out what fruity Viking aroma is making Addie's face do this.
So don't go away. The Travel Show, your essential guide wherever you're heading.
Welcome to the slice of the show where you set the agenda and I try to unravel travel. First, Richard from Hertfordshire tweeted at BBC Travel Show with a simple question.
Any recommendations for family resorts in the Canaries good for an 8-month-old?
Richard, Spain's southern islands comprise ideal territory for a young family. The flight time from your local airports, Luton and Stansted, is just 4 hours, and even the budget properties in the Canaries offer good, safe standards. For price, choose a cheap package to Playa de las Americas in Tenerife, which also has the most diversity to offer if you're keen to explore an island in a rental car. But if you simply want rest, head for the quieter island of Lanzarote. The resort of Puerto del Carmen is close to, but not too near, the island's airport, with a low-key ambience and plenty of places to eat and drink. In terms of timing, avoid July and August when high prices coincide with high temperatures. September onwards is perfect. Next, Owain Jenkins from Sussex is off to Dubrovnik in Croatia.
I have about $1,000 in cash left over from various trips to the States. What would be the best way to change the dollars to local currency?
The worst strategy would be to convert the dollars into sterling and then into the Croatian currency, the kuna. You'd lose 2 margins on the transaction. So wait until you get to Croatia, which has flourishing competition between bureaux de change. Just shop around for the best rate when you arrive. But if you're planning to revisit America anytime soon and you have a cash cushion, you could be better off changing sterling for kuna and keeping the dollars for your next American adventure. Talking of American adventures, Julian Burnell has a sorry tale we hear far too often at the BBC Travel Show.
My daughter was duped thinking she was on the official US ESTA website. She paid $140 for it and is heartbroken. Anything we can do?
Sadly, no. But hopefully this incident will remind viewers not to be taken in. Most visitors to the US need to apply online through the Electronic System for Travel Authorization, ESTA for short. The fee is $14. But if you tap something like ESTA application into a search engine, at the top of the list you'll see a couple of websites run by commercial firms that charge more than this. In your daughter's case, 10 times as much. These companies' conditions are tightly written and she will have agreed, perhaps inadvertently, to pay for an application service, so it's unlikely any claim for a refund would succeed. So the official site you need is esta.cbp.dhs.gov. Carol App tweeted at BBC Travel Show to say,
I have fake tourist East German stamps in my passport. Will it affect me getting into Australia?
I'd never recommend collecting fake border crossing stamps in a passport, even for a country like the German Democratic Republic that ceased to exist 25 years ago. The genuine articles can cause plenty of problems as it is. I've been thrown out of Honduras because my passport contained a Cuban stamp. Apparent evidence of travel to some sensitive destinations can increase the curiosity of immigration officials in various parts of the world. But I contacted the Department of Immigration and Border Protection in Canberra on your behalf, and I was told as long as a person's passport is valid and the personal particulars page hasn't been defaced or damaged in any way, and the person holds a valid Australian visa, the tourist stamps in the passport will have no effect. That's all for now, but if you've got a travel question, I'm here to help. Just email thetravelshow@bbc.com and I'll do my very best to find you an answer. From me, Simon Calder, the Global Guru, bye for now and see you next time.
Right, you might need a peg on your nose for our last film this week, because in England, one northern city is trying to attract us there to smell what it thinks is its unique aroma. If you're thinking flowers and perfume, then I'm afraid you're barking up the wrong tree entirely. Addie's been trying out York's new smelly guidebook.
Now, it's short on actual information, but this guidebook has one little trick up its sleeve. It smells. Now, you might think it's a little bit gimmicky, but this city has some pretty distinctive stinks. Lavender. Chocolate, freshly cut grass. These are all the things the tourist board reckons tell the story of York. All very nice, but turn to the back of the book and there you'll encounter the smell of ghosts. This, they say, is the most haunted city in the world, and this man's made a living by scaring the wits out of tourists on his nightly walks. He was asked to provide a spectral smell. Ooh.
It's like a good smell. It's something from the past, isn't it?
Yes, old. It's an oldie smell.
It's a bit sooty, sulphur, and there's a kind of a nice perfume as well sometimes.
Do all ghosts smell the same?
No. There's different people have different experiences, but that's a kind of a...
That's a general ghost smell.
Roses, a little tint of.
Ah.
Yeah.
How do you know what a ghost smells like?
Well, I ask people when they've had that experience. I ask them, and sometimes they can't remember, but now they do think, oh yeah, sometimes I got the scent of tobacco, sometimes I got a scent of perfume.
Now, this isn't exactly new. For exactly 30 years, the Jorvik Museum has been revolting tourists and school trips with fruity aromas Vikings might have made when they settled here in the 9th century. And by the way, just to be absolutely clear, those smells aren't always nice.
So how do you know how Vikings smell?
On this ride you get to smell all the different components. So you get to smell the market smells and the rubbish on the floor smells, and then if you combine those with the cooking smells and the production smells of people making tools and iron smelting and wood smoke, and this one that we're coming into, which is the smell of wild boar cooking, you end up with a Jorvik smell because all those smells mingle in the room and make that combination.
Yeah, this is that meaty smell.
That is really meaty because they're cooking wild boar. This is the butchers we're in at the moment, and they're cooking wild boar.
Ruth has at her fingertips the means to make pretty much any fragrance you need, including some odours used in the museum that I'd really rather not put my nose in.
You need to be careful with this one, don't smell it too
This is
much.
This is someone sitting on the toilet. All right, I'll do it. Oh! That is really nasty.
It is nasty, but it's the one that gets all the school children talking.
So how does it make you feel to know that you're selling York on bad smells?
I feel like it enhances the experience and it makes people remember. And smells linked really powerfully with emotion. So if we smell something while we're listening to something, or a piece of music or some words or history, we're more likely to remember that.
And in case you want to smell like a real Viking, now you've got the chance. Because in this little canister of Norse power, they've recreated the smell of old York. You know, they've used ingredients such as mead, smoke, seawater, human sweat, and animal meats, amongst other things. You know, it's perfect for a night out, and it's your chance to smell like a real man. Yeah.
What smell comes across to you?
Kind of smells like cow.
To be fair, it does actually smell like me after I've finished work.
Seriously?
After about a 13-hour shift in a hot, sweaty kitchen, it smells like me personally.
Ooh, that's horrible.
What's left in a locker or something at the gym? That's pretty funky.
Hotels and shops have been using smells to bring the money in for years now, but we think this might be the first time a whole city has tried it. It's interesting, but choking back the smell of human sweat might not be everyone's idea of an idyllic weekend break.
Adi Adepitan sampling some signature scents in Yorkshire.
I think I might give that one a miss. Well, thanks for joining us on our travels this week. Coming up on the programme next week,
Henry goes back to his Iban tribe roots in Borneo to find out if indigenous tourism is a one-sided deal or whether it can be of mutual benefit.
I just realised, just going around with my uncle, that food is literally everywhere. You just have to know how to get it and know what types of plants you can actually eat. And here's just a whole book of knowledge to catch up with him.
join us for that if you can. And don't forget, you can follow us on our journeys in real time on our social media feeds. The details are on the screen now. But in the meantime, from me, Carmen Roberts, and the rest of the Travel Show team here in Tokyo, it's goodbye.